Welcome to HealthCast. We are live from HIMSS 2023 in Chicago, and I am joined with Executive Director of Multi-Channel Technology within the Veterans Experience Office, Nathan Sanfilippo. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so I attended your session yesterday. It was really exciting to hear the different takes from VEO. So how are you, to recap for the people that weren't able to attend, how are you developing or revising existing strategies to improve the patient experience and deliver easy and effective services?
You know, the VA has been on a patient experience, customer experience, veteran experience journey now for almost a decade, right? And it was really a cutting edge sort of place to be, so to speak, in government, of course, born out of crisis, which is, of course, never a good thing, but also certainly a motivator to improve. And, you know, the Veterans Experience Office was founded back in 2015, really trying to infuse the principles of customer experience and patient experience into not only federal government, but very specifically around, you know, the mission of the VA, which is pretty unique in government, right? We're a solely service providing agency. We don't have any conflict of mission. You know, we don't have a security mission and a service, but, you know, it's really a singular mission in serving our veteran community. So, you know, really putting the veteran at the center of that journey and, you know, winding back the clock to 2015, the first veteran journey map and some of those initial things that were so groundbreaking for both the VA, but for federal government as a whole. And now to see, you know, how far we've come in 8 years, but also, of course, how much farther there is to go. And, you know, it's great being at conferences like HIMSS and so many other, you know, both tech and customer experience engagements, because, you know, the whole world is kind of on this journey, right? Customer experience, patient experience are becoming disciplines of their own. They're not, you know, sort of an additional duty as assigned, right? It's, you know, in the Veterans Experience Office, we are the subject matter experts to help support all of our partners across VA improve the way that they engage with the veteran community. And from a healthcare perspective and a patient experience perspective, you know, over 130 hospitals, 1,000 outpatient clinics, you know, 300 vet centers. I mean, there's so many touch points, right, with the veteran community, and trying to get to each one of those and helping them each on their own journey, right? They're all very different regions, different, you know, sort of cohorts of veterans that live in those regions, you know, different needs of the community, right? And so how do we, as a customer experience, patient experience office, help them, you know, improve where they are? It's been a major journey.
Yeah, it's definitely impressive to watch. I mean, VA in itself is huge. Just the employees that you have and then the veterans that you serve is a massive population. So figuring out how they want to receive their services and tailoring your strategies to meet them where they're at and take that veteran-centered approach is really great to see. You've made a lot of great progress. So for people that are listening that don't know, what is multi-channel technology and how can it be leveraged to support contact center operations, modernization initiatives, customer data management, and service recovery?
Sure. So, you know, my organization, multi-channels, I suppose is a bit of customer experience jargon, right? With respect to all of the different sort of channels of engagement that we have with our veteran community, right? The more modern term, you know, it's kind of evolved to omni-channel, right? And we've thought about a name change, but, you know, sometimes it's more effort than it's worth to change an org chart in the federal government. But, you know, we're really focused on the strategy, right, of connecting human-centered design research to all of the folks across VA that deliver services, whether that be on the healthcare side, whether that be on the benefits side. And so, you know, my team at VA is focused on contact center modernization engagement. Of course, that's one major channel that, you know, we receive as a department over 50 million phone calls a year across all of our, you know, there are more than 50 or 60, veteran-facing contact centers. So our team helps lead the Enterprise Contact Center Council, which, you know, tries to standardize and modernize the VA Enterprise Contact Center. Of course, you know, trying to change anything across the entire department is a challenge, but that's a big piece of what we do. being at a place like HIMSS is a place where we do a lot of research and gather a lot of insights with respect to, what's next in contact center technology. As much as everyone loves digital self-service and mobile apps, the voice is not going away.
Right.
And especially in a healthcare setting, when you're dealing with a lot of private information, a lot of sensitive, people want to talk to somebody, and as part of sort of just the overarching building of that, relationship that we try to focus on at VA between the veteran and the VA, and it's a unique relationship. It's very different than, I'm not a veteran myself, so like the relationship I have with my healthcare team, in the private sector is that it's not quite the same, right, as sort of the veteran to the VA, and so we're really trying to certainly continue to focus on voice and how we can infuse tech into the voice channel. But that's just one channel, right? And like I said, va.gov, our team helps drive the strategy for, what services we provide on va.gov for digital self-service, how we, decide what comes next as far as like the mobile app or mobile experience goes. And then really a big piece of what we're trying to do is then tie all of those together. And that's really where you get to the omni-channel, where it's, it stops being a individual transaction. I called the education contact center today and asked a question about my GI Bill. And then tomorrow I went to the medical center and had a primary care checkup. And then the next day I inquired about my VA home loan, right? And individual transactions and individual silos. How do we make it a sort of a lifelong conversation and not these individual transactions? And so, our team is really trying to help do all of not only the veteran-facing work of the research of how our community wants those experiences to be, but then all of the very detailed technical work from behind the scenes is how we actually make that happen, given legacy IT systems, cybersecurity, all of the different silos of data, and that's really, I think, the ultimate challenge. But so, in addition to contact center modernization, sort of the digital modernization, our team also drives the customer data strategy for VA as well. So, we receive a near real-time data feed from the Department of Defense around all of veterans that are transitioning or service members that are transitioning to become veterans. How we intake that data, use that data, all of the sharing across the enterprise. So a lot of data as well. But I think one of the coolest things about our team too is that we're not only driving the contact center modernization sort of strategy for the enterprise, we also operate a huge contact center. Yeah. So, we kind of have to practice what we preach. Right. Sometimes the team will come and say, hey, can we get this exception to what everyone else is doing? It's like, we can't do that, right? Because we're trying to lead the sort of more standardization and strategy. So our team runs what's called the Veterans Experience Office Contact Center, but it's really for we've been marketing My VA 411 as sort of the telephone front door. And anytime anyone calls My VA 411 and presses 0 or has sort of a general question, our team of contact center representatives are the ones that are answering that phone and making sure that we provide that world-class service as a sort of a telephone front door as well is critical to the overarching sort of channel strategies that we try to implement. Right.
Yeah. Watching you all take this holistic approach, and I love the messaging that you're pushing of making every door a front door at VA, making sure that veterans have easy access to services, and VA as a whole offers a wide-ranging slew of different services. So connecting all of those, making them visible, is really exciting. So you mentioned that the technology is used to support the human. So what are some of the different ways you're leveraging experiences or insights with AI and ML to improve operational efficiency and inform better decisions?
Yeah, of course, the technology has really taken off over the past number of years. Of course, bringing it into government is always, a little bit of an extra challenge, right? Obviously, a lot of progress there as well. We're doing a few things, particularly in our contact center enterprise, a lot of things like natural language processing, the idea of sentiment analysis, and, having an AI taking a look at what the caller is saying and being able to provide feedback to our contact center representative in real time around, sentiment and that sort of thing is important. But not only that, then taking that sort of speech to text and then being able to do different data analytics on that is critical to sort of our feedback mission. One of the things our Chief Veteran Experience Officer, John Bursler, has implemented with our team is every Friday we get together and talk about sort of voices of the veteran. What have we heard this week from the community that we serve? And a big piece of that is what are we hearing from our contact center, and how do we sort of mine the notes and the messages that veterans are calling us and talking about, and then communicate that to the secretary to say, hey, this week we saw a spike in questions about, environmental exposures or whatever it might be. And so, I think that's, one of those ways that we're really helping to automate and improve the way we do that. Of course, automated crisis alerts, whether it's through feedback mechanisms, through voice mechanisms that we can help identify and get veterans that might be in a crisis situation to, the Veterans Crisis Line, and crisis care is important in that area. And, I would say just in general, too, from a contact center perspective, we're looking at, virtual voice bots, right? And trying to get away from the old fashioned, phone tree with the, press one for this, press two for this. There's always too many options and not enough numbers. And everyone hates to listen to that for 3 minutes. And by the time you get to the end, you forget what number you were supposed to hit. Yep. So, but that said, right, the moment that it's a voice bot says, what would you like help with? And if it doesn't recognize what you say and get you to the right place, people are just going to, press 0 and want to talk to somebody. Right. So it's only good if it works really well. Right. And so, I think that's also a place where the technology is really accelerating fast, and something that we're about to pilot at VA. With some of our contact centers, and certainly, here at HIMSS, learning more about what's out there. It's obviously a big thing. Yeah, that's super exciting. And I've used phone trees and I've used voice bots. So I think the key is doing it well to make it really, to see the returns on that. So you mentioned that you might be piloting this coming up shortly. What are some of your other top goals or priorities for this year? What are you looking forward to? Everything at VA right now is about the PACT Act. Yes. And implementation of the PACT Act. And, I was just reflecting with my team this morning, roll back the clock a year, April of 22, PACT Act wasn't even on our radar screen. I remember sitting in a leadership offsite in May, and word came that, hey, it sounds like this might get some traction in Congress, right? And that this might be coming soon. And from May to August, when the bill was signed, that's pretty light speed in the world of government, right? In Congress. We've really had to, of course, we were planning fiscal year 23 long before the PACT Act came along. So now it's how does PACT overlay with everything else we're trying to do? It's a really good thing, obviously. And it's, not only, of course, is it expanding benefits to so many more veterans, but it's also really helping to emphasize the need to accelerate modernization in a lot of areas. And things that really pay dividends far beyond the sort of cohort of veterans impacted by PACT. So, a lot of our goals this year are really like the voice bot and things like that are to better serve the, tens of thousands of more veterans that are calling contact centers because of PACT and things like that. So, certainly all of those things are a goal. Data is a big goal of our team, and last year the VA data strategy was published, and a lot of work going on there. Again, most of that was written and before PACT existed, right? And it's really not only from the PACT Act, but work going on across government on demographic data and the use of demographic data for outreach, for equity of service delivery, for analytics is a huge focus government-wide, but also at VA. And so a huge priority of ours is really it's not it's not the flashy work. Connecting data systems, or data architecture behind the scenes, right? But it's critical to be able to deliver the service experiences and the outreach that we want to do as part of PACT. The beauty of PACT is it's really the first time the department has looked at a major piece of legislation really through the lens of the veteran first, right? Because it's so veteran centric, and it's how do we not only do outreach to veterans that might be eligible, but how do we ensure that, we're getting, benefits out in an equitable way? And, connecting those data systems behind the scenes has always been on our roadmap. It's always been, identified as being helpful. But things like this help us sort of to accelerate and get things across the finish line. So, data systems integration is a big priority for this year because of PACT. Piloting the virtual voicebot is a big priority. Obviously, the mobile app continues to really catch fire and develop. We just launched prescription refills via the mobile app, which was the number one most requested feature. The toughest part about the mobile app is just being able to deliver at the speed of what folks want. So those are really the biggest priorities.
Right. Yeah. Congratulations on the prescription refill. I was going to work that in at some point. But it is really cool how that app centralizes all of VA as well. I won't say all, but a lot.
Someday we're getting there.
Yeah. A lot of VA's offerings and making that just way more accessible than, maybe navigating a website and just at your fingertips, literally. So you mentioned some of the things you'll be keeping an eye on at the conference, but what are some of the trends you're excited to see out of HIMSS? Are there any different tech tools or solutions that you're interested in? What are you going to be doing with the rest of your week?
Yeah, always love to, government, like probably any private sector organization, but more so in government, right, is really about not only the tech, not only the people, but the process and sort of the governance, right, as we say, and how you take cool new tech tools and fit them into, how we do business, right? And so always learning about how to better do that is, as far as some of the sessions that, I'm looking to attend. But as far as the tech goes, like I said, there's a lot of vendors out there, right, that are very experienced working with government. A lot of folks that have cool new ideas but have no experience working with government. It's always good to see what's coming soon. There are those additional hurdles as far as being able to, work with government that, not everyone is ready to sort of achieve, but, we've got a small team here from our research team that's looking at sort of tech and what's next and sort of how to develop, our roadmap for the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah,
that's really exciting. I haven't walked the floor yet, but I've passed by it, and every time I do, I'm like, it's huge. But yeah, I will be keeping an eye out on what you do, cheering you on along the way. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was great to learn more about what you're doing at VEO.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
HealthCast, along with GovCast and CyberCast, is a production of GovCIO Media and Research. For more podcasts and to check out the other shows, head to govciomedia.com. Watch out for new episodes released every Tuesday and Wednesday across our shows. You can follow all of them on your favorite podcast platform. And if you like what you heard, make sure to let us know by leaving a review. And if you have any topics you think we should look into, contact us at newsletter@govcio.com.